Now? Are we doing it now? No?
Yeah.
No. Okay. So hello everyone, and welcome to DreadLore. We are playing Into Space.
Into space.
No,
Space.
In DreadLore, the onus is on weaving a narrative instead of crunching numbers all the time. So in order to do an action, a character will have to bid a trait in order to do the action. But if it's particularly difficult or opposed, they will have to throw down.
Throw down.
Down. Way down.
Tonight we have our players, Drizzle, Daniel Holker, Ken Howl, and our arbiter, Bill Bunkum.
Yeah.
And then we have our Patreon people. We have hold on, where is it? I lost it again. We have
Tim Roberts.
Daniel Holker.
Daniel Holker.
Nostalgic.
Nostalgic, yeah. And Natalia Cline? Yeah. Natalia Cline. And then we have our music, which is provided by all lowercase letters.
Yeah.
Or is that wrong? Am I
That's
wrong?
correct.
I don't remember. Okay. Then we also and all the wonderful stuff done by I knew it. Fire Media. And I knew I shouldn't have gotten rid of that. And then we also have Terrible Productions
For whatever it is
who help us with all the things sometimes.
No one knows. No one knows.
Whatever they do.
No one knows. Not really.
But yeah, so back to you, Arbiter.
Arbiter. I actually don't know if arbiter is spelled with an E or an O. And in the book, the DreadLore book, that was a common misspelling. So if you find one, you get a whole pip for it. Hi, everyone. Let's introduce ourselves right quick before we play this game, this near future dystopian game where you're going to play Space Marines that do Space Marine stuff. We'll start with the Drizz Fest.
I'm Drizzle. I play Skip Trace, who is a yes man because he's been knocked down a few times and it's easier to go with the flow, and unless shit's really gonna happen and he is opposed to it.
Then he uses his big gun.
Does he get up again? You can't ever get him down.
Yeah.
When I get knocked down,
Never.
does he get up again?
No.
No,
Ken, who are you?
I play a character that I would probably fundamentally disagree with in real life. Dolby Newman, who is a captain, spelled with a K, maybe a couple of Ks.
At least two, and an X somewhere in there.
An X. It's got a lot of letters. Anyways, I'm going to do this because I didn't do this last week. Dolby is a PMC officer who survives at all costs.
Mm.
And
Indeed. And what does PMC stand for?
Prime Marine Corps.
Hell yeah. Get a pip for that.
He's got a laser sword, and he's it's been a while. He's been out of cryo for a couple of days, and he's starting to get perspective from his last brainwashing session. Maybe.
Maybe we'll
Maybe
see.
not.
Hey, Holker. Who are you?
My character is Specialist Burgess. Burgess. He is a Marine. He can fight.
With fire.
Fire.
Burgess.
Yeah, Burgess has some issues. Do we remember why he has issues?
Because he has an allergy to cryo sleep and he's been there a long time.
So he keeps on waking up with severe sleep paralysis for weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Andrea, who are you?
Hi, I'm Andrea, and I play Katrina Talmus, who is a Martian princess turned mercenary, who is now, helping out, the PNC, mostly under duress, but we'll see how it goes.
Indeed. All right. So, so this game, if you guys don't know anything about it, as in people that are in the chat, well, we have a whole slew of other episodes that you can check out. The long, the short of it is, think of The Expanse or Starship Troopers. It's about 5-100 years into the future, and these guys are playing, by and large, Space Marines of the SSA, the Sol System Authority. They have been sent on a pretty distant mission. It's a 10-year-long cryo jaunt to a colony that has been acting up. And so their orders are to, in this adventure of into space, their orders are to, make the colony not do what it's doing through whatever means necessary. And they've gone through all sorts of political jargon and whatnot to get where they are right now. Turns out it's a big mystery. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, but they're Space Marines and they're getting it done. So if you have any questions, just let us know in the chat. I'm going to post right now. I post right now the setting material for Into Space. You can check that out. You can comment, tell us what you want. It is, as of yet, unfinished because we're sort of play testing it right now in DreadLore, which, by the way, is the game we're playing. Check this out. This is the new paperback that I just made.
Ooh.
Yeah, and actually, I'm really happy with it. I ordered it through Lulu. It's a proof. So Holker is holding the hardback, which is what pretty much everybody has. This is a new paperback, so it's a little bit less expensive, and you should check it out and all that good stuff. Okay, go to dreadlore.com and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, it's a sexy book. Sexy. Hey, do you guys remember what happened last game? Not really? Great.
Yeah. I do.
Let's say we'll give this a timer. We got to do this within 5 minutes. So everybody gets 1 minute. What happened last game and where are you right now? Drizzle, go.
Last game we were all sitting there talking, or Katrina was having her fever dream, and we were all kind of influencing it while stuff was going on with the Clad. We were attached to the Clad ship. We then find out that there was a bomb in the engine. I have everybody get off the ship so that way I can try to disarm it because I have a little bit of expertise with explosives. That's probably a minute. Who's next?
Yep. Do you remember why there was a bomb in the thingamabop?
Maybe the Clad did this to, like, it was just a thing they did as a fail-safe to where they could at any time have control over a situation.
Andrea.
Yeah. So I'm just continuing from there.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So after I woke up, I was immediately thrust into the pilot seat and asked to help navigate us to the the Clad ship, which I did successfully. And then we entered the ship, and some things happened. Maybe important, maybe not. We eventually made our way to the bridge and had a conversation with their commander. While the others were having a verbal conversation, I was having a I don't know, a netic conversation, or however you
Yeah,
want to
that's
call it. But
That's exactly what you call it.
and right now we are currently in the midst of this conversation. Who knows how it will
Okay.
go?
You're muted. Still muted. Not paying attention that he's muted.
He knows it's muted. He's well aware that it's muted.
Well, he's not muted.
No, he's not muted.
He's just not talking out loud. He's experiencing cryo.
Okay, seriously. So Burgess was in the engineering room with Dole Engineering, and Dolby blurted out the order to get off the planet, no matter what, to get the ship off the ground. Dole was in a bad way, so Burgess gives Dole 2 spikes from the med kit to get him all amped up and ready to go, right? And he calls from help from Lieutenant Cherokee, and Burgess continues to try and keep Dole alive. We ascend into space, and after everyone leaves the room, Burgess starts to hallucinate again. And his niece shows up and tries to point out a bomb, but Burgess wasn't having it. He makes her leave, more or less, and then he looks at the looks where she was pointing to, and it turns out, yeah, that was a bomb.
Ken.
Dolby had a flashback to an earlier time when he was talking to Cherokee Sue about Dole Engineering and how he might have suspected Dole as potentially a traitor, but saw that he had love for Josh, which was our now deceased pilot, Josh, Lieutenant Josh, and because of that connection, that love connection, he suspected that Dole did not have anything to do with it being a clad sympathizer or traitor. During later, in the last episode, Dole suggested that he did know that there were bombs on one of the SSA ships, and that ship exploded because he let it happen because the SSA is on its way out. And so he confessed this to Cherokee Sue, Dole did, and he said, don't tell Dolby, because he's probably right. He might probably die if that information is ever given up by the HR officer, Cherokee Sue. And now we're talking to, I think everybody here is on the clad ship, and we're having a discussion, except for Drizzle, or except for Skip Trace, who is about to get his butt kicked by some clad
Somebody
robot
doesn't
men.
have faith in me.
No, man. No.
No,
He does.
I do.
He does.
I do.
He does.
I do. I mean, or who knows what'll happen? Who knows?
So, well done, all of you. We actually got that done in right about the amount of time, so everybody gets a pip.
Pip it up.
Pip it up, pip it up, pip it up. Drizzle, would you like to tell the chat what they can do with their dread points?
With your dread points, you can redeem them to do stuff like give us narrative points, give us pips. Narrative points help us change the situation that's happening right now. Pips help us change what has happened in the past. You can also do other things like make us all sit up straight or make us all hydrate. that sort of stuff as well. It's all in there for your dread points.
What is a dread point, Andrea?
A dread point is you deciding to basically take away our agency and then giving us a methodology by which we can drastically alter the fiction in a way beyond our usual means.
That's really good.
What is a pip, Hulker?
Hulker's big pip.
Hey, Pip.
Yes, a pip.
Hey, Pip. It's a word with 3 letters. It's also a palindrome.
No, it is 3 letters. You're right. It's 5 letters. Do you know what a pip does?
It allows for a subtle narrative change
Yep. In the past.
in the past. Yeah.
What is a
So it
narrative?
allows. So if we forget something, a pip allows us to say, no, we didn't forget it.
What about a narrative point?
A narrative point allows one to actually change the narrative more going forward.
In the present.
in the
So,
present.
for the chat, Drizzle, how can that actually help you guys?
Because we can change the story to something that'll help, that's in our favor as opposed to what Bill decides for us.
So, chat, you guys can actually greatly benefit the players, to my chagrin. Anyway. Okay, so as we start this charade, we're going to start it with a little bit of... We're going to start it the way that the book says to start it. It is in the montage. So the game starts in the montage. It's setting up of the scene. There's no bids. There's no throwing down dice, any of that stuff. Sort of setting the stage for the world. Outside of this clad, quote-unquote, ship, the weather is inclement. You guys are within the shield of this colony, which is about half a mile to a mile above you. The shield's rather high. It's 2 miles in the air. You guys on this clad ship are hovering, but on the south side of the city, part of the dome is cracked, and this plasma storm is starting to come through, ripping up, different structures. Power is fluctuating, which is weakening the rest of the dome and that sort of thing. The ship you're on doesn't seem to notice the turbulence. For whatever reason, for whatever future tech they've got going on, they don't seem to notice. However, in the world that is happening, the Defiant, which I say, and because I'm into Star Trek, I always think of the Defiant. At any rate, this is a PNB, so Prime Naval Brigade cruiser is here. It's being currently commanded by Commander Moriarta, and she is in contact with the surface, the Capitol building, where Captain Grimm, the actual commander of all SSA people, hopefully, we'll see if Moriarta gives up some control. They are in conversation. So it's the White House talking to the big old cruiser, and that communication is happening. You all are on this quote-unquote clad ship. So the ship from the Axminster colonies is actually maybe a little bit more accurate. In space, way out there, heading this way, are several ships. You guys are mildly aware that this is happening. You can guess that it's happening. Some of the Telmar shipping people are coming. You don't know how many ships they're sending. You know that Ramada. If it isn't Ramada, it isn't Ramada. The competitors of Telmar are on their way. And you know that there's some pirates on their way. As players, as your characters, if you do know, you're not telling anybody. On the ship, no one is on your ship. It's this luxury freighter that you stole from the former despot, the late despot Confucius. This ship is called D's Nuts, and you designed it. It's basically a big, tricked out black phallus with gold trim and all manner of good things in the cargo hold. It's got 2 levels. Top level is the fuselage with some stripper poles and cryo beds. You know, there's a med bay in the back with the engines in down below. On the down below, you've got, as in the lower deck, you have the engine. This is where Skip Trace currently is. Beyond that, there's a false wall, you guys decided. And beyond it, you actually don't know. There's sort of a dick key you put in, and it opens, but no one has done that yet, so we're not really sure what's in there.
Technically, I'm up top now, though.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, because I walked up.
You were.
Yeah.
You were in the engines. Did you disarm the bomb?
Yes, and I have it with me.
Yeah, and it was the 7.4 explosive, I believe.
T4.
I can read my handwriting. The T4 explosive. You'll get a narrative point because I are stupid. I don't understand letters. Right. The T4 explosive. Skip, as you've gone up, you note that you see 2 cloaked figures. If Cameron's watching this, he's going to laugh.
Well, we did just have an FF Anderson 09 subscribe with Prime, so thank you for subscribing to us. And,
I know who that is. I know who that is. I believe he's a 6th house mage, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, doesn't matter. Continue.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and DJ No Fly gave me a pip. Thank you.
We'll use your Christian name, FF Anderson. What's up, man? He's in the book, pretty sure. Anyway, so thank you very much. Yeah, you have these 2 clad figures. I believe I described them in dark grays, and they have cowls up. They're kind of burly, like wider shoulders. They look like they could fight. They look like soldier-ish or infiltrating-ish type things. Martial people. They have their back to you, Skip. They're obviously investigating the ship. One is walking in one of the little vestibules with the cryo chambers. There's one in the fuselage down the way, and then at the far end, the tip of your ship, there's likely one in the cockpit. So there's actually 3. As far as you know, on the clad ship, did we give it a name?
No, I don't think we have. NFF Anderson said that you can use their real name.
All right, that is this Mr. Dalton then.
Oh. Hey, Dalton.
Yeah, man. He did a lot of the artwork for the book. Yeah, Dalton, I don't know if you heard, but I actually got the paperback of this book done. And check this shit out. Here's some of Dalton's handiwork right there. Boom. Killing it. All right. Anyway, on the clad ship, which we shall name
Not everybody
You
at the
guys have
same
any
time.
ideas?
The silent Vesper. I don't know.
The Splinter
Silent
Prize.
Vesper. I like Splinter and I like Vesper. The thing about Vesper is, actually, you know what? You get a narrative point for maybe obvious reasons. Yeah, it's going to be called the Vesper.
Oh wow. It's funny that we might use Vesper if things go bad.
Well, there's some foreshadowing to this, which I will not outline right now. It's a few sessions back. Anyway, yeah, so you're on the Vesper. And you've walked into this rotund vehicle. It's basically the ship from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Pretty much what it looked like.
Do.
And you're on this long walkway in a barreled ceiling, tall ceiling antechamber with, bips and boops and lights everywhere. It looks very spaceshipy. Everything's sleek and metallic, or some alloy that is light, but maybe you haven't seen it before. Very clean. Not at all organic looking. The light is ambient, not too harsh, a little bit dark for your all's taste, perhaps. And as how to put this, it is not an inhospitable ship, but it does not look comfortable, if that makes any sense. You all are definitely in an area, just coming out of the airlock that you kind of forced your way through, I believe. You're in an area that looks like it is not a major nerve center. So they have met you here. Okay? There's several of these figures around you, these cloaked figures. You can see their faces and whatnot. They're human, or they're humanoid looking. Anytime you would see beneath their, maybe as they move, their cloaks or where their clothes are, it almost looks like metallic skin, or instead of muscle, like musculature, it's bands of metal. And they have different degrees of this. Some look less cybernetic than others, but they're obviously heavily modified. Most of them are standing around 5 to maybe 5.5 feet tall, so they're not very big. Alabast, however, is a good 6.5 feet tall, with, as his name would suggest, very pale skin and yellowish eyes. He's looking down, the hair is coming down. He almost looks like one of those white dudes who goes and becomes a yogi. You know what I'm saying? At any rate, with like a toga on, as he's standing there looking at you and talking to you all. I believe, let's see, I've got this all written. I believe you have 8 of them. You're not surrounded. They're pretty much behind and surrounding Alabast himself. The walkway is rather wide. We'll say 15 feet. It's kind of an entryway into the ship. Think of a loading bay or something. So, where we will start with this. Katrina. In y'all FIFA dreams and such, where is Katrina?
I'm in the middle. Well, I'd probably be staying next to Dolby, while we're having this conversation with Alabast.
And what was the last thing you said?
The last thing I said. I think the last thing I said to him was basically saying that, I have no. I was telling him that I don't hate unlike the Sol system and the PNC, I don't hate artificial intelligence.
As you're sort of finishing that up, do you remember what you had bid to sort of color that scene?
Oh, which one did I use? I think that one was Tech Mage. Maybe. I think so.
As you remember, Katrina, in this conversation, which is verbal, there's a twinge in your neuro implant. It's a form of communication that's almost, it's not telepathic. It's more like an intuition. It's a feeling, a sentiment. As you can tell, that either Alabast or perhaps the ship, or maybe something on this ship, the Vesper, can sense that you have this neural link that is connected to the satellite system and the colonial system and the computer on D's nuts. And it's passively scanning. It's not actively doing anything to you or sending you information, but it is passively scanning essentially your mood, which
like a lie detector almost.
Yeah. So as you sort of feel that twinge with that bid, you can tell that they're aware of you, and that's an awesome picture, Ken. And this might bring up in Katrina's mind, what else are they aware of that has happened? What else have they monitored? And it might even remind you a little bit of Archangel. Dolby and Burgess, and then you have Cherokee and the rest of your NPCs and stuff. Action's on you right now.
So let's fix this. What do you think? Why don't we take Alabaster? Why don't we take a moment and let's fix this? Have your clad stand down. I'll radio my people. Have them stand down. Maybe we could work together in stopping this lightning storm from obliterating our city, and potentially maybe we can work out a new deal.
Alabast has a placid-ish face.
And I'd like to spend a pip.
It's all. Oh, on what?
Just to I think I mentioned I didn't know that the previous episode. I know that the people on this planet are from the SSA. So any reference to saying that they weren't members of the SSA, I would like to stricken from the record. It's an SSA planet where we are mining to create minerals to send back to the SSA. I don't say that part to him.
Get a pip for that. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you reference the colony as though they are SSA citizens.
Yeah.
Or I should say, under the SSH.
Yeah. So this is
They're
an
actually technically not citizens.
SSA colony, and I know you guys made a deal with the leadership, the former leadership, but it's time to make a new deal because there's new leadership in place. Let's make that deal. Let's stand down. Let's make things happen.
With that pip, since we're talking about it, the mentioning these are SSA members. They're under the banner of the SSA.
Yeah.
The colonists are. However, that does not necessarily make them citizens.
Right.
Which we know is an elevated status. That, since you've spent the pip, might be a thought that crosses Dolby's mind. if there are citizens down there, that does change things a little bit. Because they actually have certain rights.
Right. If there's citizens on this planet, we have to protect them.
It actually makes it a little more complicated, and it's something that really literally has not been talked about. So that's a good pip spend. As you're saying this, I believe you had started to say it. What do you bid?
I will bid. I'm going to bid. So many things. I would like to bid.
You guys have too many traits.
Yeah, we have too many traits. I would like to bid. We're going to say indoctrinated because I believe it. And I'm genuine about it. I believe that the citizens of this planet need to be protected. So it's a truth. And so losing this planet and people dying on it would be terror. Not only bad.
Alabast's face is placid. There's a bit of that uncanny valley feeling that you all got from Gostrom. It's like looking at an android's face. He looks human, but there's something that's off. Is it the micro expressions that are absent? Is it the skin is just too damn clear? Or maybe this is the sort of thing that people think about the Voidborn, Dolby. You being a Voidborn, maybe you've encountered this sort of thing. It's kind of up to you. But there's something surgical in his movements, very, very intentional. As he's not looking at you at present, he's watching Katrina with sort of a curious look in his eye as he turns and addresses you, listens to what you have to say. With that bid, indoctrinated, you have seen people give lip service. You've seen people hide their true intentions, their emotions, because they know it's better for them. It's better for the greater good, so to speak. If the re-education boot camp is anything, it's that. Fall in line. Not necessarily lying, but it's, I know what's best for everybody, including myself. You see that look on Alabast's face. He's listening to you, but it's difficult to know what he really thinks.
Look, we
Bordering
mind.
on.
Oh, go ahead.
He doesn't trust you.
Yeah.
That's
Look, we mind the cobalt. We made a deal. You made a deal in good faith with the powers that be. Those powers were cheating you. They were cheating us. They were corrupt. So
we need to speak to Confucius, for we have made the deal with him.
Confucius is no longer in power.
He kind of looks down for a moment and then almost too quickly back up. As in the organics of what you're seeing are maybe behind his thoughts.
We need to preserve our
You have
roots.
replaced him.
Yes, Confucius has been replaced. We need to preserve the roots. We need to stop the pirates. We had to stop the corruption. Confucius was about himself. I mean, you've dealt with him. You know this. We're not about ourselves. We're about a greater good, a bigger entity than just this one planet. I speak for the SSA when I say this stuff. And I realize that you paid for it. You paid for these goods. You made a deal with him. Unfortunately, that deal is no longer valid. And I realize that you have the material on board and that, you know, possessions is 9/10 of the law, but we want to be 100%. So we are restoring the infrastructure on this planet, and we want you to be happy. We know you need the cobalt, but we need a little bit too. And for this to continue, the shipping has to change, and the corruption has to change.
You see him nod for a moment as he sits there thinking. Katrina, you saying anything? You guys have several NPCs with you right now. You've got Cherokee. So Second Lieutenant Cherokee's behind you. Sergeant Silas is nearby. Where is Archangel and Alice Brick? You brought them with you, yeah?
Yeah, they're probably in the room.
Yeah.
Alice,
So you
I
have-
think, is with them, but I don't know
Archangel.
what you were doing with Archangel.
Archangel, I think,
Okay.
was not with us.
Okay.
He's kind of on his own task, as far as I know.
So you've got Alice Brick is with you, and Archangel has sort of bamfed. You're not really sure where he went, which is not odd for him.
Look, if you help us restore this infrastructure, we're not going to send more of us to nuke it again. I don't know who nuked that city back there. I don't believe it was Exminster.
Your kind kill each other.
True.
This is something we have come to accept.
As you know, we're unpredictable. We are not without means of killing ourselves and killing and destroying everything. My own crew rebels against me often, but we
He kind of
manage.
arcs an eyebrow.
We find a way.
This is the first sign of emotion on his face. And we'll even say since you bid indoctrinated Dolby and you're just paying attention to him, he has a quick look over at Katrina as you say that.
And Katrina, doing her netic thing again, will say to him, "Look and see how he's willing to acknowledge your existence on your terms, but the PNC will always kill the created anytime they see fit."
Are you throwing that Halo terminology at me?
I mean, it fits. So
It does fit. It does fit. What do you bid? Now this is not out loud, right? This is through your
no,
your
yeah.
input.
I will bid my fate as a trait, the Emperor.
Just as a trait. Why don't you throw down,
Okay.
Katrina, because you are attempting to convince. So there should be a threshold on this.
Yes.
This is how we're going to do it. He has, as all antagonists do, they have a base threshold.
Mhm.
You got to hit that base to affect his mood, his opinion.
Gotcha.
I will state this in the stakes. Simply to convince him of your side, it's more complex than that because he knows that both of you are vipers. Okay? And Katrina would know that. Like, if anything, she would understand that this person, while they may not be the smartest person in the room, knows that they're dealing with people that could hurt them. So they're not going to, Alabas is not going to trust either one of you.
Yeah.
Right? Just on a whim, on a on one roll. But you can sway him to change his mood and to think more equally of you. The threshold for that is 4.
Okay.
Or that is his base, what have you. Just to tell you all, if you want to look up in the book, how powerful these guys are. It's chapter 6. As everyone looks at the book. Hilarious.
So, I'm just gonna go ahead and spend a breath, because
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
I love it. So you drop breath, it takes you directly to limbo. Roll your D10. I'm sorry, your D. I think it's D10. I changed the rules so many. I think it's a D10. Should be a D12. I don't know why I ever use D10s, but whatever. It's a
2.
D10.
And what was the number I'm looking for again?
So on the D10, what you're doing is
I know
when
that
you
part.
get-
What's the number looking for on the tallies?
20. Which I should probably make it D12s and 24 in terms of 12, but 10s are easier for us to figure out. So.
Getting close.
Indeed. So your period of life has not changed as you drop breath. Breath is you spending a little bit of that essence, that ethos, life force to achieve your goals. How does this affect Katrina? Is it an aging? Is it a weight on the conscious, the soul? Something has to start cracking, which is what spending breath does.
I suppose it'd probably be more of a weight than anything because she knows that basically her life is on the line in this situation in a lot of ways, but like it's also something more fundamental, like her, not just her life such as it is, but she recognizes that this could be a major turning point in her entire, like even if she lives, getting this right or wrong is a major turning point in her life one way or another, I guess.
I love it as you feel the extreme perspiration, the cold sweat. Maybe even a moment of, it's up to you, of actual calm, and yet you feel literal cold sweat falling down your body. And you're marveling at the fact that your body is feeling this incredible stress, but your mind is able to keep going. And it is depleting in energy. Alabast is looking over at you, back and forth between you and Dolby. And his mood sort of changes. Dolby, you even see this as he kind of switches his weight for the first time to one leg. Very human-like, very zen-like. You both speak sense. Now, Dolby, as far as you know, you're the only person that's been talking.
Are you having conversations with someone else?
He gives you a look which tells you your answer of yes. Many conversations, all at the same time.
Oh, well, think of it this way. We can do this the easy way, which we'd like to do. At current, we have an armistice with Axminster, and we'd like to keep it that way. I think it'll benefit our infrastructure as well as yours to continue peace. If we
He nods as you say this.
If we use a utility code to process our goals, maybe agree on achievable goals without corruption, because as you know, if there's corruption within our ranks, that's where problems like this occur. We're a big enough entity where we can move past this and keep the materials flowing and make future outcomes more predictable.
He nods. There are things we are unaware of within the SSA. Actually, he doesn't call it the SSA. I shouldn't have said that. So you get a pip for my mistake.
Ooh.
Within the origin is what he says. As there are things you do not know of. One thing we've learned from the creators is might makes right. As he squares himself to you, Dolby. It's not an offensive thing, but it is a very straightforward thing. Dolby, you can bid or throw down to gain some understanding of who you're dealing with.
I will bid my starting trait tough to square up with him. Might makes right. It's not the best way, but it is a way.
You learned something from this guy, or about this person. It's funny. There's something familiar. We're going to call this a hunch that you get. There's something familiar in him squaring up with you. He has something to prove. But what is it? What could it possibly be? And the first thing that pops in your mind, whether it's true or not, you can do whatever you want with it. It reminds you of way back on Apollonia Station when you had just gotten finished talking to Skip Trace, telling him about the mission you were going on, and you went out, Dolby went out to go dancing with Lieutenant Calabash. And Dolby was hitting on her, throwing his moves, and other people were too. And the other people, whomever they were, the sort of way they squared up with you. First thing that crosses your mind is it reminds you of another rooster in the hen house. And this should be strange.
It is strange. I don't say that out loud.
He kind of squares up. Is that ego? It's weird. He's this placid looking, sort of false looking human. Everyone's very still, but he has this, is he trying to trick you?
Yeah.
With your bid, there is an emotion behind this. There is a conceit that he has something to prove to you.
Right.
But you don't know what it is.
Flaw and he can't help it.
Maybe it's a flaw. We'll give a narrative point to Burgess, but that should be in game.
Yeah.
It would be best if it was in game. You can use that narrative point. You can do whatever you want.
I think that you would beat me in a fight. I'm an old man. I don't want to fight you. Honestly, I've lived lifetimes at this point. And I'm just another cog in the system. Middle management, some might say. And if I'm middle management and I can do this much destruction with 3 or 4 people, that disrupts the efficiency of the system. You'll win, but you're gonna lose. We're all gonna lose. I don't want to lose.
I have no desire to fight with you, Captain.
I do not want to fight with you, nor do I suggest it. But what I'm gonna ask you is gonna be hard. I want 50% of what you have on this ship. to be paid back with interest, but I need it. And you can
Skip
trust.
trace.
Dalton says Dolby casts Sucker Punch.
But we gotta
I
stand
think you
down.
just-
We gotta stand
I think-
down.
Dolby, I think you just got a trait called Sucker Punch.
Oh. I'll take it.
What? That is a Dolby thing too. He's an
Sure.
old man. He's like, right. What a good ability. Anyway, Skip. Yeah, you're coming up the stairs. You're coming up the ladder. You have your. Do you have your big gun attached to you still?
I have an idea on how my big gun works. We just haven't
Tell
got
us.
around to talking about it. I
Because we're
think,
describing your scene right now.
well, I think a lot of my big gun this is future, so it's like magnet technology. So like literally.
We don't have
the way-
magnets now, so continue.
Yeah,
Tell us about
yeah.
that. What are these
Well,
magnets you speak of?
So like it literally can float like right behind my back to where all I have to do is reach down and go like this to pull it up. And because I know that you said it's a long gun, but my thought was that the barrel retracts. So like the segments pick up and scoot back and then pick up and scoot back and pick up and scoot back. So that way it's not long all the way down resting on my back. So when I pull it out, then it goes.
Yeah, what is that called? There's a specific word for that. It's not cyclopean.
Oh, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's collapsible, but there's a specific word for, you got the lightsabers thing, and they do that. Telescopic.
Yeah, well, yeah,
think
kind of like because then it, like they separate at the mid, go up and back.
I'm sure that I don't know enough about guns, and we have cryo sleep, so I don't know why you couldn't have a telescopic
Yeah,
big
barrel. Yeah, so that way
Barrel.
when I pull it out, then it goes. So that way it's forward.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
So make that a trait on your gun. What's the chaos die on it?
I think it's just a D6 still. We
Okay.
have never said anything
Okay.
different.
Cool. So it's got a D6 on it. The idea is that part is just the part that can fail. So it
Okay.
could jam, that kind of thing. Not saying it will, but there's the potential
Right.
that it could. Yeah, cool. We'll say that that's a modification that Skip has on his gun.
Okay.
And that way,
Oh.
since it's a trait, you're getting that free folding the story, so it increases the extra die and the whole thing.
Oh, that also will make it a legendary because that's
Hell yeah,
traits
dude.
on it now. So
That's a skip trace weapon.
Yeah.
So it means it's unique, and that's good because who else has thought of this? All right, so you're climbing this ladder. As you kind of get your head up, and you see the scene before you down the fuselage. We'll say that, hey Katrina, roll me a D12 higher, and Skip, tell me higher or low.
hi.
It was high. It was a 7.
Okay. Is the first guy closer to you in that vestibule, or is he further away from you?
Oh, I'm gonna say further away.
Yep. So he's further away. He's down the fuselage to the left, nearer to the cockpit.
Okay. I'm climbing up the ladder. As I see this, I don't pop up yet, but I comms. Straight to Dolby. Sir, we have guests on the ship.
Can I spin cunning?
Yeah, you guys are in the you're in the dread right now, so yeah, why not?
And this is.
You could also just act.
Oh, well, can I, Alabaster? Do you have guys on my ship?
Yes.
Have them stand down.
You see him arc an eyebrow. Why would I do that?
Well, because you don't want you don't want what's gonna happen next on my ship. I don't want what's gonna. It doesn't affect me, but I'm worried that your guys aren't gonna live. Is that a problem for our negotiations?
You see him. He doesn't take a step back at you saying this, but his motion, his weight sort of changes as though he's taking a bit of a step back, and he corrects himself.
Like you do
Like you said
understand that
something
when we
like
enter,
that affronted him.
yeah, when we enter other people's ships, there's a possibility of death. When I got onto this ship, I thought I might die.
Interesting. You are a violent species.
I'm a violent person. That's my job. That's what it says on the uniform.
You got a narrative point. As he says, well, you've said what you've said. Do you bid anything?
Sure.
You see that he's taken aback.
I'm going to bid my trait Rethink to activate my authoritarian presence.
Okay.
Which gives me an automatic 2 successes.
As you bid this, you see he actually is taken aback. Both you and Katrina. Katrina, you can see Alabast. He doesn't hold up his hands, but like I said, he's almost appalled. And his troops that are surrounding him, the 8 of them that you see, kind of shift their weight to look at him, and then they look back at you all. He says to you, Dolby, you entered our ship. The equal exchange would be to enter your ship.
As you know, we are unpredictable, but we're not without means. I said this earlier, my own crew rebels against me sometimes. So, does your crew rebel against you sometimes?
There's a pregnant pause. No. Now, Dolby, since you had bid what you did, he's not lying per se, but he's thinking about it's a rationalization he just made in his answer.
Would you like...
As in, he's not lying to you, he's lying to himself.
Sure. Why don't we rephrase this? You can bring Cobalt home if we make a deal. You get to live today if we make a deal. If we stand down. I don't want violence.
We entered your ship. We entered your ship because you entered ours.
Yeah.
And this is only fair, an equal exchange.
Sure. But I can give orders to my crew and they can defy them. So if I tell my crew on that ship not to fire on your people, are they going to agree with me? They may not. Because it's not my ship anymore. I got off my ship.
You
I'm
see
on
him
your
nod.
ship.
I think I understand. Then I see a potential flaw
I know.
in your logic.
So,
For if we make a deal now, the deal is simply between you and myself.
sure. I agree.
Then what is the purpose of a deal?
I'm a soldier. I'm not a leader. I mean, I lead a few people, but I don't lead a planet. So any deal that we make, it's just the beginning. What you'll have to do is make a deal planet side with the commanding officer, much like you did with Confucius. But Confucius was corrupt, and that's our bad.
You do understand. He kind of like relaxes. You do understand the predicament. You're saying your position, your side's position, the Origins side's position is constantly in flux.
It is.
So how can we trust anything? Skip Trace, what are you doing?
Sir, do I treat them as hostile? Sir.
So we are in the same scene.
Yeah. So,
I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to think about this table talk. It's a seminal moment. You can all go back and forth talk. You should, as players. You can also role play.
I would just say, just hold, keep your position. Be ready.
And I'll stay.
Skip, you notice that the one furthest from you enters the vestibule, and you see him messing with the cryo tube. You can just see kind of like down the way. It looks like he's investigating with like some sort of like hydro spanner, scanning it.
Okay, he's not
The
like...
cockpit. He's scanning. You see the cockpit open, and there's one in there who's looking around and sort of probing and prodding as it accesses maybe a computer. A hollow thing appears, and you see it flashing really, really fast as a third walks out of this other vestibule and looks around. We'll see if it sees you. You can bid or throw down.
I'm just gonna throw down because I wanna see if he sees me.
Yeah, do it. Do it.
So that would be Grace, right? I'm say.
Yeah. Do you have your helmet on?
Yes.
Okay. Got a threshold of 4.
Oop. Then it looks like he sees me.
What'd you get?
2.
Okay, so that's a bit of a crit. We'll say that we'll give you a bonus since you're in literally a ladder, like a little. You have cover basically, so it'll be a threshold of 3. You get 2, so it's not a crit fail. As he looks over and sees something, you see him stop, looking your direction as he starts slowly walking toward where you are. Obviously, he's seen something of interest.
Okay, well, at that point, I am going to... Sir, they spotted me, and I'm climbing up the ladder. And I climb up. Oh, I see we have guests.
You see him kind of
Remain
like...
calm. Hold.
Take a step back as his cloak, almost like a Wild West duster, flaps to the back, and you see... You don't know what's on his hips. It's these 2 devices which could be weapons. You're not sure. And he's kind of standing there like in this pose like a gunslinger almost.
Okay. And Dolby said to remain calm, so I'll be like, is there something I can help you guys with?
Katrina, you get a little whoop, 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 whoop. This is Telmar shipping coming into Novus Prime system. We heard your call. Where can we land? Boop, 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 boop.
The Dome. What's the name of the city again? I don't remember. I know Katrina would probably remember, but I don't.
You can spend a pip or ask a
Alright.
player.
I'll spend a pip because I
You
need to.
refuse to ask your fellow player.
Well, no, I mean, because I need to spend them anyway, and I don't really have a reason to spend them.
All right. Player 1, go. What do you do? You got a pip? So it's Novus Terra is the name of this colony.
That's the name of the colony, like the settlement itself we're at.
Capital city.
Oh, okay. I'll respond by saying the capital city currently has a hole in the dome. That is a excellent entry point.
Dolby and Katrina, you notice Alabast slowly turn towards you, Katrina. And he's giving her his full attention. Almost like he's listening. You see him stop, look up, and 3 of the people with him turn and go back the other way. Captain Dolby, we may have visitors.
We definitely have visitors coming. Telmar's on their way, and Ramadah is also on their way. I believe that this planet is going to, in very short amount of time, going to become a very hostile place to live for anybody. I'm expecting war. That's why I'm here. We need to do something about it.
Katrina, while Dolby is saying this, Katrina will actually sort of straighten her back a little bit. Actually, Telmar is already in orbit. They're on their way as we speak.
We're expecting war, and if we don't align ourselves, I have no doubt that any cobalt from this planet will be somewhere between 0 and none. It's not a threat from me. It's matters outside my control. Humans are greedy, fickle beings. That's why the SSA might be your best option to keep this planet alive in resources. We can protect from our end, just like I'm sure you can protect from yours.
Captain Dolby, you've shown us respect, so we will show you this respect. Those from the Origin have proven over the years this instability you speak of. While Confucius was not what we desired in a leader, he was not our leader. He did uphold the deal that we made with him.
Absolutely.
Our concern is you are a people who are divided.
Well, we aren't. Telmar Shipping has definitely got the SSA interests in mind. They want a percentage of the profits, and I feel like we can give it to them. And that's fair. So we're not misaligned.
He nods. We will remove our people, our folk, from your ship. We meant no harm. Simply an equal exchange.
Absolutely. We can remove ourselves from your ship. But I would like to negotiate something because this ore was stolen from us by Confucius. And I would like to promise an additional amount of ore to you for the trouble that you're causing, that you've been caused today.
You see him nod. Skip Trace. This guy standing there, he continues standing there very ready. It's pretty obvious that those are weapons on his hips.
Oh, yeah.
As the other two stop what they're doing, turn, and then start leaving the ship. The one guy is leveled at you, as he's obviously waiting for his comrades to leave before he does anything.
Yeah. I'll show you around if you want to see some stuff.
He doesn't seem to acknowledge much. He seems very ready, kind of just robotic. As the other two move past, no affect, no real emotion, maybe like the hint of emotion. It's not necessary. It's an ambivalent thing. It's a good and a bad that you get from these guys. As they exit, and this guy throws back his cloak over his weapons and starts moving around you to get out the airlock.
Have a nice day.
As they leave.
Sir, ship is clear.
Alabaster, in good faith, I appreciate what you've done, and I would like to open our conversation to a wider scale. I have units in the area that may be still on your 6 or after you, or potentially attacking the ship and your people if you have any on the ground. I would like to have them stand down. Do you mind if I radio my superior officers and say that we have this situation under control?
You see, there's a pause as Dolby, you can tell he doesn't, with the bids that you've made, he wants to trust you.
All right.
But he doesn't. Hold on.
Okay.
There's just a pause. As he says, go ahead.
Check 1, 2. Moriarty, are you on this channel?
At that point, let's take a short break. I'm going to refill my coffee, go use the bathroom, and we're going to come back. You all have just achieved a pretty good thing. You did not go to war immediately with the Clad. Well done! Everyone gets a narrative point.
Do you want to read us out, Katrina?
Yeah, so you have been watching DreadLore, which is an awesome game where we bid traits instead of crunching numbers to affect the narrative. This has been the Into Space game where we always have lots of fun. You've been watching Daniel Halker, Ken Howl, Drizzle, Bill Bunkum. Or no, did I say your name, Ken? I did, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And also Bill Bunkum as the Arbiter. And then there's me, Andrea Elliott-Johnson. Yeah, as always, we thank our supporters, Tim Roberts, Natalia Cline, Daniel Hoker, and Nostalgic. We have Tereba Productions, and we have Couchfire Media to thank for making everything run smoothly. And then we have all lowercase letters to thank for the music. We'll be back with you shortly.